Hi everyone and welcome to this video. Now in this video we're going to look at Redis as a data structure store, and I'll be showing you the most basic data structure that is stored by Redis. This data structure is the building block of all the other data structures, and it's what helps us to basically build other data structures that we can store in Redis. So I'm going to be talking about strings and how we can use them in Redis. So let us begin with a simple example. I'm going to begin with a simple set command. So I'll just set, and then I set a name. So my name is going to be Jonathan. So I can also set my age. So age is a number, but this will also be stored as a string. I'll also go ahead and set a certain JSON object. I'll call it user, and I'll go ahead and construct this. So it's going to be a string, and what I have to do is to escape the quotes. So I'm going to make this a string of a JSON, some JSON data. So let's say we have a name, and this name is going to be Jonathan, and then we can go ahead and provide our age. So can say age, and our age in this case is going to be, let's say, 23. Now I'm going to close these brackets, and I'm going to begin by trying to first escape this. And once I do that, all of these are stored as basically strings. So let us go ahead and confirm that. When we try to get our name, we can get Jonathan. When we try to get our age, we can also still get Jonathan. And when we try to get our user, in this case, we shall also get the value of the JSON data that we stored as our user. Now let us go ahead and confirm the types of these following values for which we have set keys. For example, when you say, in this case, we can actually use the type command, which is basically a simple command provided by Redis to find out which value, or to find out the type or the data type of a certain value. Now to do that, I'll just come and say type, and then I'll provide our key. In this case, our key is going to be name, so that will return our string. We can also find out the type of a certain number, but remember, we are storing the numbers as strings, therefore it will return string. And even when we try to provide our name or our user, in this case is going to return our string. So this means that every data that we store in Redis is stored as a string value. So let us try to also explore some other things. So we can be able to find out the length of a certain value. So for example, if we wanted to find out the length of a name, we're going to say str name, and since we set our name as key of name, we shall access it with name, and that will return the length of that specific value of the name, which is Jonathan. Now if we want to actually also do the same thing for our age, since it's a string, it will actually also return the length of that string, which is 2. Now if we wanted to find out the same thing for our JSON data that we actually set, we can do that by saying user, and that will also return the number of characters within our JSON string. So I hope this is pretty straightforward. So there are also other things that we can do for certain data types that are kept as string. For example, if we store a string or a number as a string, we can be able to do some operations of it which may be impossible on other strings, like we're going to see. So in this case, we have our age. Let's actually just access our age, which we set to 23. This can be increased, it can be reduced, something like upvoting and downvoting. This is actually the perfect example to do that. So let me set another number. So to do that, I'll just come and say set, and then I'll set a certain demo key for demonstration. And I'll say we are going to have 0 votes for a certain post that we post. Now let's imagine we have a post, and this post should have users upvoting and downvoting. So the way we do that is by coming and setting our votes. So when you try to get our votes, in this case we shall get our value as 0. However, if we want to increment our votes, we do that by upvoting. So Redis provides for us the command of incrementing, and by incrementing we can say increase, and then we just specify the key. Now in this case, shall just come and say votes. So that will increase the votes by 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, And that is just so simple compared to how you may want to do it in maybe an SQL database and something like that. Now you can also go ahead and increase. So if you get our votes, in this case we have 5 votes, but if you want to decrease, you can actually say decrease, then you say votes, and that will reduce our votes by 1, making it 4. Now in case we also want to do, let's say, increasing by a certain amount, we can do something like increase by, and then you specify the key. In this case it's going to be votes. Then you specify, let's say we want to add 100 votes, and that will make our total votes be equal to 104. But still, this is actually a string. If you try to get the type of our votes, in this case it will be a string, but it's a number we can increment and decrease in a certain way. So you can also do the opposite by saying decrease by, and then say votes, and then we specify that we want to reduce it by 100, meaning our votes will go back to 4. This is amazing. Now another important thing we can do with strings is to set the expiry of a certain string value. For example, sometimes you may want to set a value in our Redis store or our Redis database, but you want this value to go ahead and expire. Now, the way we do this is by coming and using set. Now, let us try to set a certain value, or by specifying a key. So let's say we're going to specify the current, let's say current price of something for a specific certain time is going to be, let's say, 2000, and then we can go ahead and set the expiry by providing ex and then specifying the seconds. So we're going to do that and provide 20 seconds. So when you do that, our current price, so when you say get current price, it's going to be 2000, but still this is going to expire after a certain time, and then we find out the time for which it's remaining to expire is by using the ttl command. So specify the key, which is going to be current price, and this has already expired. So when you try to get this, we're going to say get current price. This is going to be nil. So this is just a straightforward way in which you can be able to set a value but let it expire after a certain amount of seconds. However, we can also go ahead and simplify this entire command by using our set x. So when you do set x, it's actually going to be set x, and in this case what we're going to do is to go ahead and say set x, then let's say current, so say it's going to be our current price. So you can specify the seconds, and let's say in this case we want to give it more seconds, so I'll specify 40 seconds and then we provide the value. So let's say 2000. Every time we shall say ttl of our current price. This will be equal to 33. So if we do it again, goes on and reduces until it go ahead and expire. Now if you want to do this and basically maybe do it with milliseconds, the way you do that is by saying p set x, and then it will take in the same key and then the same amount but in milliseconds, and that will go ahead and expire that, just like we've seen. I hope you've been able to enjoy this video, and one other command I'm actually going to specify is the one for deleting a key. Now in case we set a string value but we do not want to have it in our Redis in-memory store, then you can be able to do that. So let's say I get the name, which is going to be Jonathan, but I want to remove this name, and if I want to remove this name, I'll use the del command and then specify the key. Now here we can provide a key or a list of keys. So if I want to maybe del the name and the age, in this case it will go ahead and basically return the amount of values that it has gone ahead and deleted from our in-memory database. So if we try to get, I'm actually going to use mget, which is the one that can help us to get very many values. So in this case it's going to be name and age, and that will also return nil showing how we have been able to go ahead and delete these from our database. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope to talk to you about some of the other data structures that Redis provides. If you've liked this video, please leave a like. Do not forget to subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.